All his life he was fascinated about military history. The Civil War haunted him. He had relatives who fought on both sides. As I mentioned earlier, he was responsible for the logistics of the pre-war 50th anniversary get-together of the Blue and Grey in July 1913. All his life he believed he was a reincarnation of several warriors who fought in centuries before on different battlefields. And he mentions this several times. He mentions it in his memoirs. He mentioned it in speeches, and significantly he would stop at various moments in campaigns and give completely unscripted battlefield tours to those with him of past campaigns. He did this noticeably in Tunisia and talked about the Carthaginian wars, which astounded all present. It then astounded them even more when he would stop and say, "I was there, you know." And how do you equate that to the sort of tactical genius that he expresses on the battlefield all the time? There's a lot to be said that Patton is one of the fathers of the American armoured force, because although he's a cavalryman, he understands the value of tanks and armour very early on, and the manoeuvres before America enters the Second World War, particularly in Louisiana, where armoured divisions are tested for the first time, are largely scripted and driven by Patton, who's testing himself. And he sees all his life as a preparation for the supreme moment when he's a commanding general in combat. He doesn't know when that's going to be, and it turns out to be World War II. But it is Patton first and foremost, and he tends to fight his own war, and this is very much to disdain is the wrong word, but the exasperation of both Bradley and Eisenhower. He's certainly the most experienced combat commander that America has in the European theatre, but he's also the most outspoken, and this is his undoing. Famously that he slapped shell-shock soldiers on 2 occasions in Sicily, because he didn't really get what shell-shock was. Patton, being the sort of iron constitution that he had, he couldn't understand how other men break down in combat. And the soldiers he slaps were unwounded physically, clearly wounded mentally. And that's appropriate because we've just seen an episode which describes how people break down, like Buck Compton, where there's no physical wound particularly, but it's that unrelenting process of combat. The press get hold of this. It becomes a big issue in the United States, written up by journalists. Interestingly, journalists who've been nowhere near combat. They don't understand the stresses. They don't understand the issues. Congress gets into the act. Senators, again, none with any combat experience. And there's a big move to have Patton sacked, removed, sent back to the United States. And really it's Eisenhower who reaches out and says, we can't do without him. But it does mean that his 5th Army, 7th Army, with which he invades Sicily, is no longer his at the end of the campaign. And he realises he's being punished for shooting from the hip with his mouth. He goes back to England. Now, the Germans are unaware of this, and to them, he is the Allies' greatest asset. Wherever the invasion is going to come, it will be led by Patton. And this is part of a deception campaign in southeast England to persuade the Germans that we will land in the sort of Calais region. Patton is seen very much as the head of the force that will invade France. The first US Army group. It's a fictional organisation. Wherever Patton is in the German line, this is where the major threat is. And we use that to our advantage. You can imagine how well that goes down with the great man, being used as a deception. He doesn't like it. But Bradley, who has been a corps commander under Patton, the army commander, Bradley has now made good because Patton has been taken out of the equation. He's been promoted first as US Army commander and then eventually 12th Army Group commander. And he asks for Patton as an army commander in Normandy, which is how George Patton ends up commanding Third Army. It's at Bradley's request, his former subordinates. Eisenhower too, very keen on George Patton and his dynamism and energy. And we look at him and we say to ourselves as Brits, he could only be an American. That, the pearl-handled revolvers, the polished riding boots, the jodhpurs, the whip, and his sort of very forthright way of dealing with men, sacking regimental commanders on the spot, promoting battalion commanders to take over, and his wonderful phraseology. And we've all encountered it in every walk of life, whether it's the military or his maxims and expressions that he used to give a bit of pep to businessmen today and executives who are losing their way. I love his a good plan executed violently now is better than the perfect plan next week. And there are many such, but you can see the way that his mind is always on the next hill, the next battle, the next campaign, and he cannot understand those who don't have the energy to keep up with him, and whether this is physical or mental. But what do you do when the war is over and you've fought the good fight at the head of Third Army? Peacetime doesn't settle easily on the hands of men like that. And he settles down in Bavaria, which he becomes the governor of, so all the army commanders become governors of regions of Germany. He's governor of Bavaria, which is the stronghold of Nazism. Munich was always where the Nazi party started, it's where Hitler's happiest, like Berlin. And now Patton is the Gauleiter of Hitler's old Putsch. And it's in the summer of 1945, once combat is over, congressmen and journalists come to Patton, ask him all about the campaign and the future of Germany. Because don't forget, we're not quite sure how long we're going to be in Germany, how we're going to administer this country that's created 2 world wars. And of course Patton says, well, actually we don't need to be too hard on these guys, because really our real enemy is the Russians, and that was already obvious. Our real enemy is over there to the east, and we may need these guys to be fighting alongside us. And therefore, some of the best anti-communists are the Nazis. Now you can imagine how well that goes down with politicians in the summer of 1940. And Patton's had several run-ins with the senior military hierarchy, never mind the press, never mind the president. And that's one thing you cannot say, although many people privately believe it. And so he's removed of command from his Third Army. It's all done deftly, because there's now a 9th Army, there's a 1st Army, there's a 6th Army, and there's a 15th Army, which is created at the beginning of 1945. It administers all the replacements in Europe. And after the war, it becomes the organisation that collects the combat experience and writes up the history. So George is given command of a much lesser group than the 15th Army. And his task is to assemble a historical narrative, and you can't imagine a better person put in place for that. And at the end of the year, he's going to go home, back to the United States for Christmas, and probably making plans to stay there and not return to Europe, because he's a bit of a lost soul. Battle is in his blood. Take the battle away, he's not really sure what to do or where to go. And the headquarters of 15th Army is in Heidelberg in southwest Germany, beautiful town. And he's involved in a small, completely irrelevant traffic accident while he's being driven around in his staff car. It doesn't seem serious at first. He's taken to Heidelberg Hospital, now under American US Army control. And eventually it's realised that he has a broken back. He's paralysed from the neck down. He can't feel the rest of his body. The best surgeons are brought in, but he rapidly contracts pneumonia, which he dies from just before Christmas 1945. Now that's the historical record. and I have no doubt, I have no reason to doubt it. But if you go online, we have lots of conspiracies about how he's been done away with, because he's preaching the truth about the Russians. And that's unacceptable in 1945. So the only way you can shut him up is to have the Secret Service create traffic accidents. And well, you can go there. You know all about conspiracy theories just as well as I do. That is out there. There's always a debate to be had with those who will then go on and debate the grassy knoll with you, and all the rest of that. But I think it's well to leave him really where he's happiest. What Patton really wanted to do, he saw himself as a soldier. He always saw himself on the battlefield in several different lives, and he would like to have been standing on a tank, urging his army forward, clipped by a shell, standing on the tank. He always expected to die in combat, and Lieutenant Ronald Spears' advice was probably absolutely something that Patton would have signed up to. You have to accept it, you're already there. Perform your task without that fear. And I'm pretty sure in his own mind that was where he was. He didn't expect to survive the war, he survived the war, and what do you do? Peace for him is probably terrible. So, an unlikely death. But it's fitting that he's brought here. And originally his headstone was, yes, roped off in a separate place. But a few years ago the decision was taken to actually move his remains